People need to be underground on this tornado. Calm down!
The sky darkens. A wall of clouds rolls in, swallowing the horizon. The air turns heavy, almost suffocating, until the world goes silent, too silent. And then, with a deafening roar, it happens. A monstrous funnel descends, clawing its way to the ground, ripping apart everything it touches. Trees are uprooted like blades of grass.
Just don't stop. Oh my God.
And tonight, we are counting down the top 5 biggest tornadoes ever recorded. These aren't just numbers on a chart. These are storms that left scars on nations. Events where entire cities were erased, thousands of lives forever changed, and history itself was rewritten by walls of wind. But here's the twist. The further we go down this list, the darker the stories become. You might think the deadliest tornado happened in the US. You'd be wrong. And the one that holds the record for being the widest? Well, it might shock you to know even the experts didn't survive it. Stay with me, because what you're about to witness will make you look at the sky differently forever. Number 5. The Bridge Creek Moore Tornado, 1999. The $1 billion storm. May 3rd, 1999, Oklahoma. A day that started with light breezes and clear skies would end with one of the costliest and most violent tornadoes in U.S. history. By late afternoon, the atmosphere became unstable. Meteorologists stared at Doppler radar in disbelief as they watched one of the most dangerous supercells they had ever seen forming. Then, just after 6:20 p.m., it touched down near Amber, Oklahoma, and quickly grew into a monster. At its peak, the Bridge Creek Moore tornado reached 1.3 miles wide. But the size wasn't the most terrifying part. It was the wind speeds. Instruments recorded gusts of 318 miles per hour, the strongest winds ever measured on Earth. Imagine that. Winds faster than most passenger jets at takeoff, tearing directly through homes. Entire neighborhoods vanished in minutes. Concrete slabs were all that remained of houses. Cars were tossed hundreds of feet, wrapped around trees like paper. In one chilling account, a family who thought they were safe in their storm cellar.
Structure is a combination of a steel frame structure and concrete masonry walls. And part of the reason why this building was so deadly was a lot of those walls collapsed. And unfortunately, they collapsed on kids that were trying to seek shelter up against those walls.
Felt the steel door rip clean off. Local weathermen broke their professional calm, yelling warnings live on television. You will not survive above ground. Get below ground now. By the time it ended, 36 people were dead. More than 8,000 homes were destroyed.
That Moore area, IMSA's responding to multiple injuries. We are hearing that there are a number of people who are trapped underneath debris right now.
Probably went another 25 minutes without hearing from her. And when I did, it was first in the form of 2 or 3 texts, one that said, help me.
And damages passed $1 billion, the first tornado in U.S. history to reach that figure. And yet, the most terrifying part was that it wasn't alone. This tornado was just one of 66 tornadoes that ripped across Oklahoma and Kansas in less than 24 hours. As night fell, survivors stepped out to silence. Not birds, not insects, just the sound of emergency sirens wailing over flattened suburbs. The Bridge Creek Moore tornado was not only record-breaking, it was a preview of what was yet to come in the 21st century. But if this was the billion-dollar storm, our next tornado was the widest ever recorded. So massive, it didn't look like a funnel, but the sky itself collapsing. Number 4, the Tuscaloosa Birmingham Tornado, 2011. the monster of Alabama. April 27, 2011. The southeastern United States braced for what meteorologists later called a once-in-a-generation outbreak. More than 200 tornadoes would touch down in a single day, but one stood above them all. The Tuscaloosa Birmingham Tornado. Forming in West Alabama, this EF4 tornado grew rapidly, carving a scar across the land. By the time it reached Tuscaloosa, it was nearly 1.5 miles wide, a swirling vortex with winds exceeding 190 miles per hour. And this time, millions watched it unfold live. Footage shows the massive funnel swallowing entire neighborhoods as power flashes lit up the city. To students at the University of Alabama, it felt apocalyptic. Apartment complexes collapsed like they were made of cardboard. Cars were hurled across highways, stacked in mangled heaps. Then, the storm continued its rampage toward Birmingham.
Tornado. This is a tornado emergency. And power flashes. We got power like fire, and it's going through populated areas. My God, get below ground if at all possible.
More than 80 miles of continuous destruction. Entire communities reduced to matchsticks. In Tuscaloosa alone, block after block was flattened, with landmarks unrecognizable in the aftermath. Survivors recall crawling through splintered walls, hearing screams from trapped neighbors, and stumbling into streets lined with debris as if a bomb had gone off. By the time it was over, more than 1,000 people were injured and 64 lives lost. The destruction was broadcast worldwide, making this one of the most infamous tornadoes in history. What set this storm apart wasn't just its size or its death toll. It was the way it revealed human vulnerability in the age of modern technology. With cell phone cameras, live TV, and endless footage, the Tuscaloosa tornado wasn't just experienced by those in its path, it was experienced by the entire world in real time. But as terrifying as that was, the tornado that came next dwarfed it in scale, because in 2013, Oklahoma would witness a storm so wide it broke the very definition of what a tornado could be. Number 3, the Reno Tornado 2013. The widest tornado on Earth. May 31st, 2013. Storm chasers gathered near El Reno, Oklahoma. The skies were boiling with energy, and many thought this might be just another chance to study a dangerous but familiar storm. They were wrong. At first, the tornado appeared average. A narrow funnel touched down, but within minutes, it expanded 1 mile wide, then 2, then more. By its peak, the El Reno tornado measured 2.6 miles across, the widest tornado ever recorded. Imagine standing on one side of Manhattan and seeing a tornado stretch to the other side, wall-to-wall destruction. That's what this was. Winds inside the funnel hit 296 miles per hour, making it an EF5. But the size wasn't its only danger. It was its unpredictability. Instead of moving in a straight path like most tornadoes, El Reno zigzagged, shifting directions rapidly. Even expert storm chasers were caught off guard. Among them were legendary chaser Tim Samaras, his son Paul, and colleague Carl Young. Their mission was to collect data that might save lives. But as the tornado suddenly expanded and shifted course, they were trapped. All 3 were killed, marking the first time veteran researchers had died in the field from a tornado. Their loss shook the meteorological community. If the most prepared could be taken by surprise, what hope did the rest of us have? The El Reno tornado proved that even in the 21st century, with Doppler radar and satellites, nature can still outmaneuver us. And yet, as terrifying as El Reno was, the next tornado wasn't just wide, it was deadly in ways that shook an entire American city to its core. Number 2, the Joplin Tornado, 2011, a city torn apart. May 22nd, 2011, just 1 month before Tuscaloosa. The people of Joplin, Missouri were living a normal Sunday evening. Families shopped at Walmart, students celebrated the end of school, friends gathered at restaurants. By nightfall, the city would never be the same. At 5:41 p.m., sirens wailed. An EF5 tornado touched down on the edge of town. Within minutes, it was 3/4 of a mile wide, tearing straight through the heart of Joplin. Entire neighborhoods disappeared. Businesses were flattened.
There it is. Oh, I don't know if you saw that. Holy crap. I hope this is taking awesome video of that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is a tornado, people. That is a tornado, and I am getting it on camera. I am getting this cat crap on camera.
And in one of the most harrowing moments, St. John's Regional Medical Center took a direct hit. Patients had to be evacuated down stairwells filled with dust as windows shattered and ceilings collapsed.
One of them, I could hear him crying, screaming, "What's going on?" We were covered in dirt and brick and block. It seemed to me like it lasted forever.
Cars piled up against buildings. Trees were stripped bare, bark ripped away. Survivors described the sound not as a roar, but as if the earth itself was screaming. When it was over, 162 people were dead, more than 1,000 injured, and 7,500 homes destroyed. It became the deadliest U.S. tornado of the modern era. What made Joplin especially haunting was its timing. The tornado struck at dinner hour when stores were crowded and streets were full. Families were separated in the chaos, with strangers linking arms to dig people out of rubble. Doctors performed surgeries in parking lots using only flashlights. The city was unrecognizable. Satellite images showed entire blocks wiped clean, as though someone had taken an eraser to the landscape. For many, Joplin wasn't just a natural disaster, it was a war zone, and it revealed something chilling. Even in the age of advanced warning systems, sometimes 20 minutes is not enough. But if Joplin was the deadliest modern tornado, our final entry is in a league of its own. The deadliest tornado in recorded human history, and most of the world has never even heard of it. Number 1. The Daulatpur Saturia Tornado, 1989, Bangladesh, the deadliest tornado in world history. April 26, 1989. In the rural heart of Bangladesh, storm clouds gathered over Manikganj district. For villagers living in bamboo and tin homes, it was just another tropical afternoon, until the sky split open. What touched down that day was unlike anything the country had ever seen. The Daulatpur Saturia tornado quickly expanded to nearly a mile wide, tearing across farmland and villages with unimaginable force. But this wasn't Oklahoma. There were no basements, no sturdy shelters. Families huddled together in flimsy homes, powerless as the winds ripped everything apart. Eyewitnesses described being lifted off the ground, carried through the air, and dropped miles away. Survivors woke up surrounded by silence, broken only by the cries of neighbors who had lost everything. Entire villages were erased, fields turned into graveyards, families wiped out in an instant. By the time the skies cleared, an estimated 1,300 people were dead and tens of thousands left homeless. It remains the deadliest tornado in human history. And yet, outside Bangladesh, the tragedy barely made international headlines. There was no viral footage, no billion-dollar insurance claims, no documentaries. Just memories carried by survivors who lived through one of the most horrific storms the world has ever seen. This tornado is a stark reminder. While the United States measures tornadoes in billions of dollars, in other parts of the world, the cost is measured in lives. From the billion-dollar destruction in Oklahoma, to the haunting live broadcast in Alabama, to the unheard tragedy in Bangladesh, these tornadoes are not just weather events. They are scars in history. Every storm begins with the same warning signs: dark skies, a stillness in the air, and then chaos. In minutes, lives are shattered, communities are torn apart, and the landscape itself is forever changed. What these stories reveal is terrifying. Technology may advance, but nature always has the final word. Radar, Satellites and sirens can save lives, but they can't stop the wind. Yet there's another side, resilience. Communities rebuilding from rubble, families starting over with nothing but determination. Survivors who carry the memory of those lost and who stand as living proof that even in the face of nature's wrath, humanity endures. So the next time thunder rumbles in the distance, remember these stories. Remember that the sky is capable of both beauty and unimaginable terror, and that the biggest tornadoes ever recorded are more than just statistics. They are chapters in the story of survival.